the letters that are going around about possible ethics conflicts with the Airport Advisory Board, and I've been watching them and reading them, and then over the last couple of days my eyebrows rising. As I understand the problem, there are two of them. One, you have two members on the Airport Advisory Board who are also members of VASI, board members of VASI, which is by its own admission and statement a lobbying organization to the Airport Advisory Board. The other is that members of the Airport Advisory Board in the past couple of years had, the other allegation that's being made is that members of the board had voted on rent increases when they in fact were also rentors. I think the latter mentioned one is about as clear a conflict of interest as you can get. The first one, where you have members of VASI also being members of the Airport Advisory Board, I have understood from the city attorney and from others that it's not a conflict as long as they don't specifically talk about things. If they leave the room or whatever, they've separated, they're not in the same room. I would submit to you that that is not exactly the way the Ethics Commission might see it based on a previous ruling that also had to do with the City of Venice. I'm also concerned that as folks are reading these questions, a council member writes off to the city attorney stating that this is harassment. Okay, because as soon as I see that, I'm thinking, is this a cover-up? Which is a legitimate question given the hostility that I'm seeing. It's a legitimate question. Take you back to 1991. Then President of the Taxpayers League, Krebs, filed an ethics complaint against Planning Commissioner Jeff Boone. Mr. Boone was also at the time representing, as an attorney, a client by the name of Mike Miller. Mr. Miller was appearing before the Planning Commission to get approval on a specific project. At that time, Mr. Boone was the attorney of record for a number of projects for Mr. Miller. Mr. Boone pulled a no-show that day. Well, that sounds wrong. He was not in attendance at that Planning Commission the day that Miller's presentation was made, and that presentation was made by another attorney. He did not vote on it, and by all statements, he did not communicate with other planning commissioners about it. You would not think that that would be a conflict, but the Planning Commission said it was, or the Ethics Commission said it was. It was a situational conflict in that he was on the Planning Commission at the same time representing somebody who was appearing before the Planning Commission, in spite of the fact that he did not represent that individual before the Planning Commission, nor did he participate in the process of approval or denial of that particular project. The Ethics Commission ruled that it was, if I recall correctly, that it created a situational conflict. They did censure Mr. Boone, but punished him in no other way other than reprimanding him. Boone resigned from the Planning Commission shortly thereafter. That's the same kind of thing that you've got going on right now with VABI and VASI. It creates the same situational conflict. Whether or not you can document any conversations, it's irrelevant. I think there's two ways to get these kinds of things before the Ethics Commission. One, the citizens can file a complaint. I don't think you want that, because at least on the voting of the leases, things can get very serious very fast. The other way it can come before the Ethics Commission is as an advisory opinion, and that is where the city or the officials involved document what has happened, where you are going, and asks the Ethics Commission, does this constitute a conflict? And I'm going to strongly suggest you do that in these two situations, because from talking with some of the individuals involved and with the escalation the other day of a letter asking the city attorney to look into it because citizens are harassing public officials by asking these questions, I got a feeling it's headed for the Ethics Commission one way or another. It probably would behoove you guys to send it there rather than folks on the other side of this dais.
Thank you.